Mountain Monsters has investigated hundreds of locations, faced bears, dangerous terrain, extreme weather, but one episode never aired. September 2019, deep in Kentucky mountains hunting the Yahoo, something went horribly wrong. The crew was attacked. Not scared, attacked. Wild Bill hit by rock, cracked rib. Huckleberry grabbed and thrown 5 feet. Marcus's arm slashed, 3 parallel cuts. 4 crew members hospitalized in one night, all captured on camera. Subscribe because Travel Channel banned this episode permanently. The footage is too violent, too real, too disturbing for television. Creatures charged them. Physical contact, documented injuries, medical records prove it. This wasn't entertainment. This was survival, the most violent cryptid encounter ever filmed, and the network decided you should never see it. This is what really happened during the banned Mountain Monsters episode, and why some hunts aren't worth the risk. Devil's Creek Hollow sits in the remote mountains of Pike County, eastern Kentucky, deep in Appalachian territory. The area is accessible only by rough logging roads that wind through dense forest. Steep ridges surround the hollow. Cave systems penetrate the mountains. The nearest town is 40 minutes away on treacherous roads. Cell phone service doesn't exist. The local population is sparse and secretive about what lives in those mountains. The Yahoo is a regional cryptid reported for generations across Appalachia. Unlike the typically shy Pacific Northwest Bigfoot, the Yahoo is known for extreme territorial aggression. Described as 7 to 8 feet tall and covered in reddish-brown hair, it's blamed for multiple livestock killings over decades. Several hunters have reported being chased from the area. One hunter was hospitalized in the 1990s after an encounter, though he refused to discuss details. Locals genuinely fear Devil's Creek Hollow. Many won't enter after dark. In August 2019, multiple recent sightings reached the Ames team. A local farmer's cattle were mutilated in ways that didn't match bear or cougar attacks. Strange vocalizations were recorded by campers. Massive tracks measuring 19 inches were found near the creek. Elaborate tree structures appeared overnight. The pattern suggested an active, aggressive creature. Desperate locals contacted Mountain Monsters directly, asking for help. Before the investigation began, warning signs appeared. Local residents warned the team repeatedly, "Don't go up there after dark. That thing don't run from people. It hunts people." Most significantly, a Native American elder visited their base camp. "You're making a mistake," he told Buck directly. "This one is different. It's territorial and violent. You should leave." The team dismissed the warnings as superstition and local fear. The full Ames team deployed for the investigation. Buck Lowe led as team leader. Wild Bill, Huckleberry, Jeff Headley, and Willie McQuillian comprised the core team. The production crew totaled 8 people, including multiple camera operators, a sound technician, and a producer on site. They brought complete equipment: thermal imaging, night vision, audio recorders, trail cameras, and communication gear. The investigation plan covered 3 nights. Night 1 for reconnaissance and evidence gathering. Night 2 for building traps and setting cameras. Night 3 for active hunting. Base camp was established at the hollow's entrance. Teams would split coverage for efficiency and coordinate via radio. Medical kits were on standby as standard procedure. From the beginning, the atmosphere felt wrong. Wild Bill commented immediately, "This place feels wrong." The forest was unnaturally quiet with no bird sounds or insect noise. An oppressive feeling hung in the air. Even experienced crew members felt nervous. But Buck decided to proceed. "We've handled worse," he said confidently. They hadn't handled anything like what was waiting for them in Devil's Creek Hollow. At 8 p.m., the team split into 2 groups. Buck, Wild Bill, and Willie headed north toward the ridge. Huckleberry, Jeff, and a camera operator took the south approach through the valley. The producer and remaining crew stayed at base camp. Radio check confirmed communication was working. The sun was setting fast in the hollow and temperature was dropping rapidly. Everyone felt uneasy but proceeded anyway. By 8:45, Buck's team discovered massive footprints crossing a muddy section near the creek. The prints measured 19 inches long with 5 distinct toes. Deep impressions suggested something weighing over 600 pounds. The stride length indicated 7 to 8 foot steps between prints, too large for human, too humanoid for bear. Buck examined them closely. "These are the biggest I've ever seen, and they're fresh, maybe within the last hour." At 9:15, they found elaborate tree structures, 8-foot logs stacked deliberately in patterns, fresh breaks on branches, saplings bent and woven together. These structures were far more complex than typical Bigfoot markers. They suggested high intelligence and very recent activity. Something built this today, Buck said quietly. The realization was unsettling. The first unusual occurrence came at 9:30. Loud crashing sounds erupted from the brush approximately 50 yards from the team. Something large was moving parallel to their position, keeping pace as they walked. Wild Bill stopped the team. Something's tracking us. They listened carefully. The crashing stopped immediately when they stopped. When the team resumed walking, the sounds resumed, matching their pace exactly. By 9:50, deep guttural howls echoed from the ridge above them. The sound was unlike any animal they recognized. Not bear, not cougar, not coyote. Before they could process it, a second howl answered from the opposite direction. The team realized with growing dread that they were positioned between at least two of them. Huckleberry's team radioed that they were hearing the same vocalizations coming from multiple directions around their position. "They're communicating about us," Jeff said nervously. Huckleberry scanned with the thermal camera at 10:10. Multiple large heat signatures appeared on the screen, at least 3, possibly 4 distinct sources. They were moving in a coordinated pattern, staying just outside clear visual range at approximately 200 yards out. The signatures were circling both teams systematically. "They're surrounding us," Huckleberry reported over radio, his voice tense. Buck made an immediate decision. He radioed both teams. "Everyone back to base camp. Slow and steady, stay together." This wasn't panic, but tactical retreat. He didn't want teams separated with coordinated creatures watching their every move. Between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., the team settled into camp for the night. Tents were set up in a clearing with the generator running to power lights and equipment. A perimeter was established with portable lights. Buck and Wild Bill took the first watch while the rest of the team tried to sleep. The forest remained eerily quiet, with no normal night sounds whatsoever. At 1:15 a.m., the generator suddenly died. All lights went out immediately, plunging the camp into complete darkness. Buck went to investigate and found the fuel line deliberately cut with a clean slice, not animal damage. "Someone or something sabotaged this," he announced. The team went on high alert immediately. Within minutes, flashlights revealed multiple sets of eyes reflecting from the tree line. They completely surrounded the camp from at least 5 or 6 positions. The eyes were 8 to 9 feet off the ground, far too high for any normal animal. They just watched without approaching. The team armed themselves and formed a defensive circle. The eyes would disappear when flashlights pointed directly at them, then reappear in different locations. They were moving around the perimeter, testing the camp's response. This was intelligent, calculated behavior. "They're hunting us," Wild Bill said quietly, "testing our defenses." At 1:35, large rocks began being thrown into camp from multiple directions. The rocks landed near tents but weren't hitting anyone deliberately. This was intimidation. One rock the size of a softball landed 3 feet from a camera operator. The crew was starting to panic. At 1:42, camera operator Marcus went to his tent to grab equipment. The team heard him scream, "Something grabbed me!" Everyone rushed over to find Marcus pale and shaking violently. 3 parallel scratches ran down his arm, bleeding. He explained that something had grabbed his arm from outside the tent and pulled him backward. The grip was incredibly strong. He pulled free and saw a massive hand covered in dark hair before it disappeared. The medic examined Marcus immediately. The scratches were 3 parallel marks, 4 inches long each, deep enough to draw blood. The spacing suggested a very large hand. Not bear claws, not human nails, something in between. The team pulled everyone into the center of camp. No one was allowed near the perimeter. Buck tried to radio for extraction, but communications were dead. The satellite phone was also not working. They were completely cut off from the outside with no way to call for help. The generator was sabotaged. Communications were disabled. They were surrounded by multiple intelligent creatures showing coordinated behavior and willingness to make physical contact. From 2 a.m. until 5:15, when dawn finally broke, the team huddled together. Constant sounds came from the perimeter, heavy footsteps circling, breathing audible in the darkness. Occasional glimpses of massive figures moving just beyond the light. No one slept. Everyone was terrified. When first light came, the creatures melted back into the forest. Examination of the perimeter revealed dozens of massive footprints surrounding the entire camp. They had been playing with the team all night. Morning daylight revealed the full extent of the night's events. The generator fuel line showed a deep, deliberate slash. Multiple equipment items were moved, knocked over, or damaged. Food supplies were scattered across camp. The message was clear: we can reach anything. Footprint casts were made from the clearest prints. They measured 18 to 20 inches long with depth suggesting 500 to 700 pounds. At least 6 different sets were identified, proving multiple individuals working together in coordinated patterns around the camp. Marcus's scratches were cleaned, bandaged, and photographed extensively. The spacing between marks measured 3 inches. The depth was a 1/4 inch into his skin. Pattern analysis showed 4 fingers plus thumb with a hand span of 9 to 10 inches minimum. This was consistent with a massive humanoid hand, not any known animal. The producer called for medical extraction for Marcus. Marcus refused to leave. "I'm not going through those woods alone, and you need the camera crew." He stayed despite being clearly traumatized, jumping at every sound. Buck called an emergency meeting at 9 a.m. Should they continue or abort? Arguments for leaving included the physical attack, crew injury, and seriously compromised safety. Arguments for staying included only 1 night remaining, incredible evidence already captured, and the belief that daylight hours should be safe. The production company via satellite phone pressured them to continue. "Can you make it 1 more night?" Buck reluctantly agreed, but set strict conditions. Everyone stays together. No split teams, no one goes anywhere alone, full perimeter lighting, backup generator, weapons loaded and ready. At first sign of danger, immediate extraction. We're not risking lives for footage. During daylight, Jeff and Huckleberry, scouting near camp, found a cave system 200 yards away. Large openings with fresh tracks leading inside. A massive nest of branches inside the entrance. "We camped right in their territory," Jeff realized. This explained the aggressive territorial behavior. The creatures were defending their home. That made the coming night even more dangerous. At 7:30 p.m., the entire team deployed together. No split teams this time. Full lighting perimeter was active with the backup generator running. All cameras were positioned. The team formed a defensive formation and waited. Anxiety was extremely high. For the first hour and a half, nothing happened. The silence was too quiet, unnatural, no forest sounds at all. The team was on edge, waiting for something. The calm before the storm feeling was palpable. At 9:15, a massive figure stepped into the light range at the edge of the perimeter. 9 feet tall, covered in dark reddish-brown hair with a muscular build. It stood completely still, staring directly at the team for nearly 3 minutes. This was challenge behavior. Then it stepped back into darkness and disappeared. Between 9:20 and 10 p.m., different creatures appeared at different positions around the perimeter. They showed themselves briefly, then vanished. This was coordinated display, establishing dominance. "There's at least 5 of them," Buck counted. At 10:15, large rocks were suddenly thrown from multiple directions simultaneously. Dozens of them hit tents and equipment. One destroyed a camera. Another grazed the sound technician's shoulder. This was a coordinated attack. At 10:18, a rock the size of a baseball hit Wild Bill's back between his shoulder blades. He went down hard. The team rushed to him as he lay conscious but unable to breathe properly. Rocks were still being thrown all around them. Someone yelled, "Get to the vehicles!" Buck shouted, "Everyone move now!" They grabbed Wild Bill and began retreating. At 10:22, as the team moved toward vehicles, a massive creature charged from the tree line. 8 feet tall and enormous, it ran directly at them. The team scattered. Huckleberry tripped and fell. The creature was heading straight for him. The creature reached Huckleberry, grabbed his backpack, and lifted him completely off the ground. It threw him 5 feet through the air. Huckleberry hit the ground hard. The creature stood over him as Huckleberry screamed. Buck fired his gun into the air. The gunshot made the creature pause. It looked at Buck, made a decision, then released Huckleberry. It backed away slowly, never breaking eye contact with Buck, then turned and disappeared into darkness within seconds. The team grabbed Huckleberry. He was conscious but terrified, his back injured from being thrown. Wild Bill was still in severe pain. "Get in the trucks now!" Everyone ran, abandoning all equipment. Their only goal was getting out alive. They reached the vehicles and piled in frantically. Engines started. The headlights revealed multiple large figures watching them leave. The creatures didn't pursue. Their mission was accomplished. Territory defended. The team escaped at 10:28 p.m., speeding down the mountain road, leaving everything behind. 2 crew members were seriously injured. The most violent encounter mountain monsters ever documented was over, but the consequences were just beginning. The 2 trucks sped down mountain roads for 40 minutes to reach Pike County Medical Center. Everyone was silent except for groans of pain. Wild Bill could barely breathe. Huckleberry's back was seizing up. Marcus's scratches were bleeding through his bandage. The sound technician's shoulder was swelling rapidly. At 11:15 p.m., they reached the emergency room. 4 team members required immediate treatment. Wild Bill was taken for x-rays. His diagnosis: cracked rib with severe bruising across his back, showing impact pattern consistent with a large rock. The doctor said, "You're lucky it's not worse. That rock hit with serious force." He was prescribed pain medication and restricted from activity for 2 weeks. Huckleberry's examination revealed severe lower back strain, possible herniated disc, and whiplash from being thrown. Bruising covered his shoulders and back where the creature grabbed him. The bruises were handprint-shaped, measuring 10 to 11 inches in span, much larger than any human hand. Medical staff photographed and measured them, confused about what could have grabbed him with such force. Marcus's scratches showed signs of infection 24 hours later. Antibiotics were prescribed. The wounds were deeper than initially thought. The 3 parallel marks would scar permanently, leaving him with proof of what attacked him. The producer arrived at the hospital with network executives on conference call. They discussed liability concerns, insurance questions, and legal implications. 4 injured crew members with documented physical attacks created serious complications. Willie reviewed the footage in the hospital waiting room. The rock throwing was clearly visible. The creature charging Huckleberry was captured on camera. Physical contact was documented. Huckleberry being thrown was visible. The creature standing over him was filmed. "This is the most violent encounter ever filmed," Willie said quietly. Network executives immediately expressed concern. This went beyond entertainment. People were genuinely hurt. Do we air this? Legal teams began reviewing footage. Insurance companies started investigating. OSHA became potentially involved. The evidence was undeniable, but the question became, what should be done about it? Network lawyers reviewed all footage and identified multiple liability issues. Crew members were injured during production, making the company potentially liable. Workers' compensation claims were likely. OSHA violations were possible. The insurance company denied coverage, invoking acts of nature exclusions. Legal exposure was too great. The violence factor was unprecedented. This episode showed real physical attacks, not implied danger. Actual documented violence with people genuinely hurt on camera. This was different from typical Mountain Monsters content. It crossed the line from investigation to assault. Network standards determined it was too intense for television. Travel Channel's brand image was at stake. The network was known for paranormal entertainment, not graphic violence. This episode showed people being attacked, injured seriously, and traumatized psychologically. Sponsors might object. The reputation could be damaged. It didn't fit their brand. Internal ethical debates questioned whether profiting from crew injuries was exploitation. The team went through genuine trauma for entertainment purposes. Was it ethical to broadcast that? The network chose ethics over potential profit. Buck initially wanted the episode to air. People need to see what's out there. This is proof. But after reflection, he changed his mind. My team got hurt. Marcus, Wild Bill, Huckleberry injured. Maybe some things aren't worth proving. He supported the network's decision. Team members' views were divided. Some wanted evidence shown. We went through that. People should see. Others were traumatized. I don't want to relive it. Don't want my pain as entertainment. Huckleberry especially opposed airing footage of being physically attacked and thrown. Too personal, too traumatic. In November 2019, Travel Channel officially banned the episode. It will never air on television. Footage was archived but not destroyed, kept from the public. Team members signed NDAs about specific details. The general story could be discussed, but not graphic footage details. The network issued a vague public statement. Due to production complications, the episode will not air. No specifics were given. Fans speculated wildly and rumors spread, but the truth remained hidden until now. In March 2020, an anonymous crew member posted on Reddit claiming to have worked on Mountain Monsters. They described the Kentucky incident. Crew was attacked. People got hurt. Episode banned. The post was deleted quickly, but screenshots spread everywhere. Hospital records leaked online with names redacted, but injuries documented. 4 patients treated the same night from incident at Devil's Creek Hollow. Cracked rib, back injury, lacerations. This corroborated the Reddit post. Proof something really happened. A small Pike County newspaper article from September 2019 was found. Television crew injured during filming. 4 transported to hospital. Wildlife encounter suspected. The article confirmed the date and location, matching all leaked information. Wild Bill posted cryptically in October 2019. Sometimes the hunt hunts you back. Huckleberry went dark on social media for 3 months. Marcus left Mountain Monsters permanently, never returning to the crew. The trauma was too severe. Buck Lowe was never the same after Kentucky. He became more cautious as a leader, questioning every investigation. Is this worth risking my team? He won't ignore warnings anymore. The elder told them not to go. They should have listened. Wild Bill's rib healed within months, but psychological impact remained. He's more hesitant on investigations now, constantly checking surroundings. That night changed me. Realize these things can kill us. We're not invincible. Huckleberry's back problems persist years later. He required physical therapy for months and still has occasional pain. The handprint bruises took weeks to fade, but the memory never fades. Being grabbed by that thing, thrown like I weighed nothing, that strength was inhuman. He focuses on technology now, keeping distance. I've been close enough. Don't need to experience that again. Marcus never returned to paranormal work. He took camera jobs on nature documentaries. I'm done with cryptids. Almost died in those woods. He can't watch mountain monsters anymore without triggering anxiety attacks. Mountain Monsters protocols were completely overhauled. Enhanced safety measures, medical personnel on every shoot, satellite phones mandatory, emergency extraction plans required, hazard assessments before each hunt. The banned episode changed how the show operates permanently. The episode remains banned with no plans to ever release it despite fan demand. Legal reasons remain valid. Footage exists in a vault with heavily restricted access. Only lawyers and executives have seen it. What we know for certain: 4 crew members injured, medical records documented. Physical attacks occurred and were captured on camera. The episode was completed. Network chose not to air it. The ban remains in effect. This was the most violent encounter the show ever documented. The lesson learned: not all cryptids are passive. Some are territorial and violent. Yahoos are different from typical Bigfoot. Warnings should be heeded. Safety over evidence. People over profit. Some hunts should be abandoned. Devil's Creek Hollow remains off limits. Mountain monsters will never return there.